Hello, everyone. Welcome back to How to Trade. I'm Shane Vernier, and this is NFP Live. Today, we're going to cover the U.S. jobs numbers for May. A lot going on there, a lot to unpack there, but we've had an even bigger news cycle. I mean, right now, let's just cut the pleasantries and get right out to price action. This is the biggest story that we've seen in a long time. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, heck of a feud kicked off yesterday afternoon. I should have went live and covered it. A lot really developed there, a lot of mudslinging, a lot of stuff that we were not expecting. I mean, the news cycle was absolutely unbelievable, and this is what happens when you get an unbelievable news cycle. Tesla has absolutely fallen out of bed. I want to start here because this is going to be a big-time mover and shaker today. Everybody's going to be trading Tesla. Everybody's going to be watching Tesla, including this guy right here. So I'm going to have my crude oil, and I'm going to have gold, and then I'm going to have Tesla, and then I'm going to have the news feed, and I'm going to be listening to Trump. I'm going to be looking at X for comments out of Musk. But this is fascinating stuff. Big time break. This is the 920 EMA crossover right there. Essentially was your sell signal for Tesla. And then yesterday's session, I don't know how the 920 got that right. Probably dumb luck, but it came in ahead of the news. Take a look at that. That 4-hour bar on a Tesla chart, okay, that's great. Look at that. Look how tight that is. It's like somebody knew something was coming. And then you saw this great big dump yesterday of about 14% that wiped off billions of market cap from Tesla. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to trade. I got my Robinhood account open and ready to trade a little stock. But remember, if you want to trade anything like stock CFDs, indices, you can head on over to Switch Markets. They've got you covered. Thousands of markets. I'm jealous. I'm in the United States. I'm jealous of the international clients because you guys get to trade CFDs over at Switch. I don't. I got to just buy stocks, and my ability to get short on Tesla isn't very good. I would have to get a short position, and that means I would have to negotiate with my broker and actually deposit a lot of money to make it even worth my while. But if you're trading CFDs, you can do things like that. You can take these 920 trades, which I really like. I really like those on U.S. stocks on the daily and the 4-hour time frame. That session right there, absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable for Tesla. In my view, it's the story of the day, but we've got NFP to deal with, and we've got all sorts of different markets to hit. So I want to welcome everybody back to the room. We got a ton of people here. Team Marina, good to see you. T. Lewis Shepard, always a pleasure. Lewis, Paint Bar Trading. Whisper number 110,000. Prediction is 127. Yeah, we're going to cover the expectations in a minute. I think this comes in very low. I think our number is going to be very, very low, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on Jay Powell to start cutting interest rates. Let me see. There you go. Wizard Alvin, thanks for staying up. Wizard, sure appreciate it. JC, good to see you. Lita, always a pleasure, Lita. Bobby Bob, all right, guys. Welcome back. Let's see if we can get into this stuff and unpack a few things. Now, we're going to start with price action, then we're going to go over our NFP expectations. I'm talking very, very fast because we have a lot to cover in about 7 minutes. So here we go. All right, XAU USD. This is what everybody's talking about in the live chat over on YouTube. It's pretty much what everybody's thinking. And the gold. Bottom line is gold. I've sort of laid out the roadmap for gold and what I think is going to happen here. We got the big bombs. We got the big bombs flying like we called yesterday in the live stream. Russia's just absolutely gone on offense here. Hit Kharkiv, hit Kyiv. When I say we, it's sort of me and a few other folks that I talk to. We don't think this is going to end. We think that this is going to get worse and intensify over the weekend in what really will be akin to a shock and awe type of a campaign in retaliation against Ukraine. Who retaliated against who, it does not matter. The bottom line is this marks escalation, and that could potentially send gold higher. That's a big-time market driver going into the weekend. So if you're going to trade the weekend, keep an eye on your news cycle. Russia-Ukraine has to be near the top of your list because anything can happen in that situation. Right now, Russia's going pedal to the metal in response to the big attack that was launched last week. So it's tit for tat, but this will drive markets. So let me see. Arun, Research, Wojciech, Lanzi, good to see you. What will happen to gold? Well, here we go. All right, here's gold. My roadmap's relatively simple here for today. I like simple. Simple's always better. Still relatively bullish here, but we are in compression in the gold market. This is a daily chart. This right here, I love that support zone right around 33, 43, 97. So right around 33, 44-ish. Boy, that's really tough not to take that bid. Now, this is just a basic Fibonacci retracement sequence. I love that horizontal support zone. The only problem I have with it is if we do trade beneath that zone and take out yesterday's low, then we're going to come way off. So what's a better buy for me? I want to buy it. I want to buy gold. I don't want to sell gold. I want to buy gold. But what's a better trade location? Down in there, 33, probably 33.10, 33.09. That's a pretty darn good level. The back end of our Fibonacci golden zone. I've also got a Bollinger midpoint right there. I have a 13-period EMA that I really love to trade. That's my bread and butter, 33.29. So maybe 33.30. I want to be on the buy side of this market. I don't want to sell it. Even if the market crashes on this NFP number, I don't care. I don't want to sell it. So I'm looking at big gold from right there. May's high is huge. I'm looking for a breakout over May's high if we get there, and a run at your all-time high at 3,500. We're going to be watching gold closely. I'm going to take this down to a real short time frame chart, and we're going to see exactly what happens. But I love the bid right there from that 38%. As far as the USD, will the USD gain strength? Well, we're going to talk about this in a minute. And Raphael, will this make crypto bullish? Crypto's a challenge. Remind me to cover Bitcoin towards the end of this. I don't know. We're seeing a nice pullback there in crypto really since we put in a bullish market call. All right, let's talk a little NFP here, and then we'll get ready for the number. Remember, if you want to trade any of this, head on over to Switch. NFP, June 6th, Friday, June 6th. Remember, it's just the aggregate number of jobs that have been created in the last month here in the United States. I mean, there is some nuance there. Just think of it as just being a big, robust employment number. How do we trade it? We look at our projections, and we look at our previous release. The number is relative to those two. I know I'm talking fast. We have to talk fast. We got a lot to go over right there. We're gonna take a look at the number as it comes in compared to what we expect and what the previous release was. So what were those things? Well, right here you can see the previous release was 126,000, and we're looking for projected 177-ish, somewhere in there. I might have that backwards. It doesn't really matter. We're looking for a projection to be a little bit less than previous, but this is what matters right here. The NFP number is what it is. This is the one I'm concerned with, the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate's absolutely huge. If it's at 4.2%, then we've got to understand that if it ticks higher than that, then you're going to see a lot of pressure on the U.S. Federal Reserve. Now, as far as our unemployment situation, this is the report from April, and you can see right here, total non-farm increased by 177 in April. So we actually have those numbers backwards, but you're looking at 177 previous. Okay, and we're going to be looking for a downtick in that of 117, I believe it was, something like that. Yeah, 126. So we're looking for a tighter number there. What the key is going to be the revisions. I always talk revisions because these numbers are changed. That last paragraph, as they say, the devil is always in the details. We're going to be watching the revisions. I would be willing to bet $5 right now that you're going to see that 177 from April get revised down, and that's going to make this number look even a little bit worse. I don't see employment going higher right now, but I don't know. Remember, these are wildly unpredictable. I don't know really anybody that can show up and hit the NFP predictions on the nose each and every time. We do pretty well here, but as far as venturing a guess, I would probably be guessing to the downside as opposed to the upside, and that's going to put a little bit, I would say probably a little bit of dovish pressure on the USD because that may in fact prompt a rate cut sooner than we think. So there we go. Let me see Arun Patel, gold in the near future at 25,000. Are we going to hit the top on the S&P 500 today? Well, I mean, S&P 500 certainly one of the markets we're going to look at here. When we trade this thing live, we're going to go to a 1-minute chart, Great Britain Pound USD. This is a 9 EMA. We're going to do a little bit of live scalping, 9 EMA with RSI confirmation. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that live. And then we've also got the NQ. We're going to look at that on the 920. I've got a 5-minute chart up here on the 920. We're probably going to bring that right down to either a 1-minute or a 30-second chart to really show you exactly how this market works. And right there, you almost had a trade. Well, you did have a trade. We're watching RSI closely, and I'm going to show you how to qualify those trades when we do them. So we got about 3 minutes left. Dollar yen, I really want everybody to be looking at the dollar yen because it's a big-time mover and a shaker, and it's one of those markets that we absolutely have to be in tune with. We have to understand the dollar yen because right now we're seeing a tremendous amount of pressure being placed on the global monetary system. The tariffs have done that. The trade war's done that. Now, the yen in Japan have been a big player in our equities run-up, a big player in the equities run-up in the last 5 years or so, and a lot of that was done with that carry trade. Now, what a carry trade is when you borrow a currency at, say, 0%, and then you pump it and you invest it somewhere else to get a better return. Japan has been the lender. They've been the default lender at 0% for a long time. Now, could you and I go and borrow yen for 0%? No, we couldn't. But the hedge funds can, and the banks can. And that's exactly who's leveraged out in our stock market. So when I'm thinking global commerce and I'm thinking about exactly how to trade this thing on an international basis, I'm looking at the yen. I love this resistance level right up there. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And you've got a shot right around 147-ish. That's hot. I like that. Now we're trading 144.25. Do we get that today? No, we don't. Could we get it Monday or Tuesday? Absolutely. So I'm looking for today's number. Maybe we set the tone and set that sell up for later next week. I think that's going to be a trade idea probably for later today. So watching relatively closely there. As far as the S&P 500 goes, we'll look at the US 500 CFD. Do we look at all-time highs today? I don't think so. I really don't. But you cannot ignore the bullish nature of these markets. There was your tariff panic. Nice big long-legged doji, and now you've got the rally. Now you've got the big-time rally. So a lot going on right there in the S&P 500. I would be watching that top relatively closely as being potential resistance, but I do think we're going higher eventually. I'm just not really sure where these markets are going to top out at. All right, Great Britain pound USD. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Here we go. Number's going to drop. Anybody that gets it first, go ahead and just shout it out on the live chat. I don't have it. I don't have the live squawk in front of me. Okay, there's the big bearish break. So this is essentially setting us up for a buyback on this strategy. What exactly was the number? I'm going to refresh it here in just a second, and we'll get a good look at it. I think the EU and the GU will go down. Maybe not. Okay, here we go. Total non-farm payroll employment increased by 139,000 in May. Wow. And the unemployment rate was unchanged at 4.2%. So it's a pretty good number compared to what we were expecting. We were expecting a worse number. That was a pretty darn good showing. And right here, you can see that Great Britain pound USD sort of giving us that 1 minute action that we always see, guys. This is Chop City. Very, very difficult to trade. And the reason why it's difficult to trade is because that sweep right there, that sweep knocked out all of your longs. Look at where your overnight low was, right in there. Boom. What do you think was happening here? Everybody was dug into the long. What happened? Got swept. Got swept out of the box. You knocked out all those stops, and now we're reversing. I want to get in. I probably want to take this to the long. We just got to wait and see. It's sort of a hawkish figure for the USD. If we came in a little bit better than expected, I would say that, what do you do with that? It's going to theoretically put bearish pressure on U.S. stocks, but we're not seeing that just yet. Okay, my Great Britain pound USD, we didn't quite get outside of our lower bounds on our RSI. Remember, RSI goes under 30. We're looking to buy on a cross over the 9 EMA. If we're up over 70, we're looking to sell on a cross under the 9 EMA. It's as easy as scalping gets right there, guys. It's all about picking market and time frame. Right now, we've got a time frame and some decent market. Let's go to gold. All right, gold right here. We still did not get outside of that lower Bollinger Band. Excuse me, very dry here. We did not get outside that lower bounds on the RSI, so we still don't have a buy. So the real question now is what do we do? And we've got to wait. Now take a look at this. This is fascinating stuff because gold just wiped out all those longs, just like the Great Britain pound did. All right, so if in fact that's the case, what are we looking to do? I wouldn't have any problem buying right now at all, but I would have liked to have seen this get into oversold territory. Right now, my initial read on these markets is they're rotational. I don't see really any trends developing today. We're going to switch over to the E-mini NASDAQ here in a second, but we just don't have any trade there on gold. Let's go to the Euro USD and see what we have. This right here is a potential trade right there. You're in oversold territory, okay? On this bar close, potentially would be our entry to the Euro USD to the long. I'm going to show you exactly how to execute this type of scalp right there. You're in oversold territory. All we need is a close above the 9 EMA, and we're looking to go long. So I'm going to have my buy down, my market down, and we're going to go ahead and fire our guns here as soon as we get this bar close if it's above the 9 EMA. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Let's see if it sticks. If it stays above that 9 EMA, we're going. 3, 2, 1. Okay, bang, we're gone. Okay, so we're long in the market right there. Why did we execute the trade? Oversold territory there, a breakout above the 9 EMA. Now we're officially long. So what can we do? Stop loss right beneath that spike low. I like this trade. It gives us pretty good trade location potentially to get something done to the top side today. That is your NFP low, your opening bar low right there, and now we're long this market. Okay, so this turned out to be pretty tasty here. We're getting in on a bit of a runner. What should we be shooting for? I say at least a 1-to-1. So if we're down there at 113.85 and we just went long at 114.19, that's going to be 34 pips. We need to be drawing blood somewhere up around 54-ish. I believe that's the correct math. So that would be potentially your trade. This looks pretty good. Now, if you're a true scalper right now and you got that big move in that opening minute, if you're long and you're hot and you're feeling pretty good about this trade, there's nothing wrong with taking the money right now. There's nothing wrong with it. Just understand that over time, you're going to need to be able to ride these moves out to get in there and actually make profits over a long period of time. Now, a retracement's inevitable. I mean, this has been very easy since we got into this trade. I would be tempted to take the money right now and go on to the next trade. That's a pretty darn good breakout scalp right there. If you're going to put your stop loss beneath this, basically you're taking a position for the rest of the day. It's not a bad idea, but you can see just how fast you give a lot of that profitability back, and now you're pretty much back to square one. So if you're going to scalp, I always say be quick on the trigger. If you're going to use this 9 EMA to take positions, I would recommend a longer time frame. Now it's drawn against you. Do you get knocked out? Do you get in? Do you get out? Who knows? It's really difficult to say. Right here, maybe the market goes down. Maybe it rebounds and goes back up. But we do know this. We have an active market. We have a signal, and we have an opportunity there potentially to make some profits. Personally, I think it would have been real hard not to bail out right up there at about 114.30, take the money and run, because now you're taking a draw in what could potentially turn out to be a losing trade. So that's how you execute the 9 EMA. Pretty good trade, I would say. I love that initial price action. Very difficult for me to not take profits when you see the market really blow your way that hard. I think that's a pretty good indication that, boy, you just put the money in your pocket and go on. So definitely no internet. And Wizard Alvin lost the internet over the last 5 minutes. It's tough. That's tough. All right, let's go to NQ, the E-mini NASDAQ futures. This is the 920 EMA. This is another one of our strategies that we put out there on our How to Trade Calm YouTube channel. I really like this one. This is your 920, and you can see right there, we're sort of using the RSI now. You don't need RSI on the 920 for confirmation. This is a 30-second chart from the NASDAQ, and this is our coded version, and it's very simple, guys. You get a gold bar. That means that the 9's crossed over the 20, and you buy it. And then if you get a purple bar, you just sell it. The 9's crossed under the 20 and you sell it. This was really good stuff right there at 626 ahead of the NFP. You could have ran in there and got a really big move there on that E-mini NASDAQ. So a lot going on there. I think that potentially today on our U.S. equities, we could be looking for the top side. We could be looking for the top side of these markets. Right now, we've got the US 100 trending up by about 1.15%. So there's definitely a lot going on there with U.S. stocks, a lot of bidders involved. Let's go back to our gold market. What happened to our gold market? Well, the gold is sort of in an interesting position. It didn't really do much. I still love buying this 38% later today, and it gives me a little bit more confidence in that type of a trade. And the reason why is we just weathered the storm. Gold really didn't do a whole lot on that number dropping. So you have an opportunity right there to 33.43, maybe 33.45-ish, which is about $11 down from where we are. And we could easily get that move out of gold really in the next hour or so. So I would be watching gold. I want to be on the long side of gold as opposed to selling it. But that zone right there, my Fibonacci levels, got a lot of confidence in those. I think you got a pretty darn good trade cooking there. You just got to be able to get in and get out on your terms. And you can do that in the next probably hour and a half, 2 hours. So it may take a little bit of time for that trade to set up, but I do like it. I don't think that we're going much lower today at all. If in fact we trade down from 33.58. So, okay, I got some questions. Let me see. Everybody's been waiting 6 months for crappy numbers, and they're still flat. News cycles. Yeah. Hey, where to get the shaded area between the 920 EMA indicator and trading view? Yeah, we coded that one, Vrilla. Go ahead and check out our video on How to Trade Calm YouTube channel, and it's called using AI to code the 920 crossover, and it shows you all about how to do it. And I believe I have the code somewhere. I have a picture of the code somewhere in the video, so you just copy the code and put it into your Pine script. And it'll give you just a basic read or a basic look at that 920. The shaded area between the moving averages, something like this. The shaded area is a trend indicator. The wider that area is, the stronger the trend is, and then you get the color-coded bars as well. It's very simple, but I like it. It gives us a great visual on what is a relatively strong trading strategy. It really isn't bad. Let me see. And how to find the gold and purple bars. Yeah, it's all in that video, Varilla. So it's called Using AI to Code the 920. It's right on our How to Trade Calm YouTube channel. Check it out. This is taking off. I mean, the NASDAQ's taking off. Let's go ahead. Let's go to like a 5-minute chart here and back off and see what we have. Okay, now we're deep into overbought territory on the 5-minute, but this looks to me like a bit of a trend. You're going to be waiting a while to sell this thing. I mean, if you want to use the 920 to sell this NASDAQ, you're probably going to be waiting until after the open today in the next hour. So you just need some price bars to set up, and then you're going to need that 9 to cross under the 20, and that'll get you short. This doesn't feel like a trend day to me. You know, it started in 2011. I've put my 10,000 hours in front of the screens. This doesn't feel like a trend day to me at all. I feel like this is an initial pump fake. or the Euro USD coming off. We probably should have taken the money. That thing looks like it's going to lose. But the big thing we got to remember here is how do we make money and then keep it? And I want everybody, we're going to talk a little bit of psychology towards the end of the stream when I'm ready to sign off. But your psychology when it comes to trading this stuff on short time frames has to be dialed in. It has to be strong. And I'm going to tell you one mistake that you cannot make today. And I'm going to do that right at the end of the stream because I don't want to bum you out right now. Okay, let's do something else here. I'm getting a little bit bored. There's going to be nothing there. Let's go right here. U.S. oil. Let's take a look at U.S. oil. U.S. oil is absolutely broken out on the 5-minute. We're up about 0.5%. It's still a rotational day. There was your buy signal. You're getting buy signals ahead of the number, which is problematic, but not, could have got in on a little bit of a move there, about 20 cents. As far as U.S. oil goes, if we were in fact going to trade this using the 920, which I wouldn't do, I have a different approach for that. But you could definitely say, okay, we're bullish. 30-minute time frame. Okay, we're bullish here. What could we really do right now, though? And the answer is game plan. I want a game plan. I want to make sure that I know exactly where my macro support and resistance levels are. And right now, this is the dynamic for WTI crude. Now, monthly chart. A lot of people don't like monthly charts. I love them. They make you money. Monthly charts make you money. They just do. Macro support and resistance levels, for me, are what it's all about. So something like this, what's happening? Huge plunge in April. May, tight inside month. And now what are you doing? You're flirting with May's top. You could definitely see a break here. You could see a break above 50%, above last month's high, and you're going right up there to 65.77. To me, we're in the prime bidding season for WTI crude. We've got Russia, Ukraine blowing up again. You've got Israel, Iran, potential tensions there. We don't know what's going to happen there over the news cycle. I would probably want to be bullish going into the weekend, U.S. oil, but right now we're all about the breakout. And we're watching relatively closely. The top of May's range is going to be 64.14. So I'm looking at 64.15s real close, thinking we're going to wash out a lot of shorts and potentially rally. But I got to tell you, the premium trade up here is probably selling 65.50s right in front of that golden zone, the back end of that golden zone, which is 62%. Love that trade. Personally, full disclosure, I'm a crude oil specialist. This is what I specialize in. I trade 2 futures contracts pretty much every day religiously, and then I also work in some of the indices, but I trade gold and crude oil, those commodities every single day, and then also I look at your U.S. indices. I've been trading the E-mini Dow lately just because I like the price action. I'm not real big on the E-mini S&P 500. I'll probably get back to that, and the E-mini NASDAQ is just a little bit too volatile for me. That's for sure. So definitely a lot going on here, but I love crude oil. That's going to give you a chance to trade right up there at 65.50. If, in fact, we rally from here maybe early next week, maybe later today, maybe we get a huge trend day up, that's likely the top of it. So I'm watching that closely. I think we got a shot there to make a little bit of hay. Okay, I got way behind on the questions. Let me see. Bullish or bearish for Bitcoin? Yeah, Jared, let's cover Bitcoin right now. Thanks, man. Love your channel. Absolutely. Really happy that you guys find some of the information useful. And, we do our best here to give you a little bit of a little bit of help if you need it. If you don't need it, great. This was it. This was our analysis that we put out last week. And in many ways, this Bitcoin pullback was exactly what I wanted to see. It just didn't quite get deep enough. And what happens is you see all this analysis right here. And if you're a market newbie, or if you're somebody that's watching and you go, Shane, what you're talking about is way too hard. You're talking about fractal geometry. You're talking about commonality. Guess what? All this, that's just the way that I trade. You don't have to trade that way. You can be using, look at this. You can use this 9 EMA. Going to lose a little bit of money on this trade, but still it's a structured way to approach it and it's easy. Maybe that makes more sense to you. The fractal nature of markets makes sense to me. Now, we were looking to buy somewhere right down there around 98, 98.50-ish. That was hot. That's what I would call hot. That's a target-rich environment. We want to get involved down there. So all this analysis, confusing everybody. Let's do this. I'll do you one better. Just price. It's just you, me, and price. You got all this stuff right here. All these buys, all these sells, all this stuff. Fortune's won, fortune's lost. Okay, great. What's important for Bitcoin? Technical analysis does not have to be hard. You don't have to read books. You don't have to sit around going, oh, this guy's a genius, this guy's a genius, this guy's a genius. Oh, I don't understand. 100,000. We talked a lot about 100,000 when we broke down Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks. What's this month's low? 100,426. 100,000 is support. There's bidders at 100,000. You still have to be bullish in this market. Long-term bullish trends there. Is there an upside for Bitcoin? I've been calling for 125 relatively regularly for a long time now. 125 is the topside target for me. I don't see any way we don't get there. Famous last words, right? Market's not going to top out and stop now. I don't believe that. You don't have interest rates coming anytime soon, or interest rate hikes coming. If they start cutting rates, that's just going to send Bitcoin higher. We know that Trump and company, they want to adopt Bitcoin across the board. We know that. So if we know all these different things, how do we take a short here and hold it? We don't. We go long. So now the real question that everybody wants to know is, do I buy Bitcoin right now? What do I do right now? And I go, well, what? Right this minute? I don't think you do anything. Wait for the market to rotate back down to 100,000 and buy it. Or you start looking at some of our levels that we had out there, our commonality levels. 97.6, maybe 98.5. Remember, you have to shade these support zones a little bit. There's no excuse to not get long there at 100,426 if you're waiting for 100,000. You're not going to get 100,000 right on the nose. Okay, that's almost what, a $4,000 kick since 100,000? 4%. I mean, we laugh at that, but that's a nice 4%. Hedge funds would kill for 4%. Long-term investors, venture capitalists, they will sell their souls for 7%. We're talking about a 4% pop. Take it. Take the money. It was like that trade we just took on the Euro USD. Man, when that thing sprang in our favor, we were up $100 in like 2 seconds. Take it. Take the money. Put it in your pocket. You can make a living doing that. That's where most people run into troubles. They sit around waiting for these huge home runs, the big $30,000 or $40,000 trades. I got into trouble last month trying to do that. Didn't need to do it. Be smart. Use your head. Be smart. In any case, right there, I love this because the beauty of this trade right here is if, in fact, we wash out 100,000, and there's no rules, we could easily trade beneath 100,000. If that happens, you're going to wash out a bunch of retail longs, and you're going to have a shot. You're going to have a shot to buy a discount. To me, a discount's 98.5. Absolutely, no question. And if, in fact, things get real ugly for Bitcoin, we trade beneath last month's low, then we're sitting right down there at 88.75, but I don't see this big correction coming. I just don't see it. I think that you're gonna base right here around 100,000. We might trade at 100,000 all the rest of the summer, and then before we finally get our move, it just really depends on what happens. A, economically, and B, regulatory. C, if the U.S. government starts buying Bitcoin, it's 125, 150, 200,000. It happens fast. So I love the long side of Bitcoin. I think that's exactly what we've got to do. All right, let me see. I got another question. T Marina, why is natural gas so hard to trade? Because it's natural gas. You notice that I don't spend much time on natural gas. When I first started streaming, I covered it every single day because I was trading it. I was going to be a natural gas trader, right? Over the years, I've had real struggles with natural gas because there's no rhyme or reason really to what it does. I will tell you this. We hit this pretty good with our Fibonacci. There's your Russia-Ukraine, and kind of Russia heights of the initial invasion. We were up there right around 10. That's not an accident. This market topped out just under 10. Big round number. That's what happens when nobody knows what something's worth. They go, is it worth 10? Is it worth 20? I don't know. Well, this one's worth 10. Bang. Sold off. Came down here. Everything sort of normalized. And right here, all these months, all that war, all those bombings back and forth, all the death, all the destruction, the market got used to it. The world got used to seeing it, and that's what's disgusting about the whole thing is people are used to seeing it now on the news. The markets are used to pricing it. I mean, we had those are major strikes from Russia. That's major retaliation. Didn't even move the needle. I was waiting for gold to break out. Didn't happen. I was called out on that yesterday on the live stream. Somebody said, why do you think that's going to be bullish? And I said, well, XYZ, maybe triggers Article 5 of NATO and it goes to a wider scale war, which could happen still, but we didn't see that initial reaction. The world's used to it. That's horrible, but it is. And our natural gas markets are used to it. They're used to the idea of, okay, maybe natural gas out of Russia is cut off forever. Maybe there's new embargoes. Maybe there's this. Maybe there's that. And we're just used to pricing it. So what do you have here? We had a 38% that really nailed this range. Your lows down there right around 1.5. Your high right up there, right around 4.8, 4.7, 38% retracement, called it beautifully, and we sort of pointed it out at the time. So if you were, in fact, trading natural gas, number one thing I would recommend, the question is from T Marina, why is natural gas so hard to trade? Because it's a thin market. It's not as deep as a lot of these markets. It's not as deep as crude oil. There aren't as many people trading it. There's big time hedging involved from pretty much everybody that needs energy. The AI boom has taken this to a new level. A lot of people believe natural gas is going to fuel AI. I don't necessarily believe that, but it could. I think it's going to be nuclear myself. But this right here is a great indication that we're still trending down, but the bottom clearly is in to me. I mean, the bottom's got to be around 2. So if I was trading natural gas, I'd be buying 2s and selling 475s, and I'd keep it that simple. But the reason why natural gas is that hard to trade is because the institutions are involved, the hedge funds are involved, and the geopolitical situation can really roil this market, and it can do it fast. It can do it fast. So that's what I'd be looking at there for natural gas. Tough market, though. Definitely a tough market. Let's go back to our pet rock here. Well, we're holding on. That's why we have stop losses, right? We put it beneath that NFP low. We're still theoretically alive, but I don't think this trade's going to win. It may. We may spin higher towards the end of the day, but I don't see it. The U.S. dollar right now is sort of making a bit of a comeback. Let's go over to the dollar index. You're about 0.5%. This is your long-term macro level. I pointed this out yesterday. Really a big-time zone right around 99, 98, 92. If we take that out and break, holy cow, we're going much lower. As far as what's going on the intraday for the DAXy or the DAX, DXY. Vintage, guys. This is vintage stuff. 5-minute chart. Take a look at what happens. There's your 5-minute price bar. You knock out all the lows. You don't knock out the intraday lows, but this swing low, you knock them out, and then you rally. So you knocked out the longs and the shorts, the day traders, and now we're starting to sort of fiddle around and see which way we're going. Right now the dollar is showing some strength. I don't know that it breaks out today. My guess is we trade right around 99, probably settlement down there somewhere, but I'm not necessarily sure. I think that it's definitely possible, though. But this right here is just absolute, I call it garbage can rotation because there just is nothing there. Take a look at some of these ranges. Look at that. You think that's an accident? That's your NFP bar. Boom, boom. That's when all the action came in and we traded. Now we're just sort of rotating sideways. Do we break out of that? Maybe, maybe not. All right, let's take a look at one more equities index, and then there's 2 points I want to go over, and we're going to sign off. Let's go back to that. I want to see the US 30. Show me the US 30. Okay, US 30 5-minute chart. Right there. There's your NFP number. Bam, ding, ding. What are you doing? Still fairly bullish, but trading inside of that. This is going to be a key level as you roll into the U.S. Open right there. Key level is going to be the top. Mark that on your charts. Mark the top of that NFP range on your charts. It's going to be very important. It's either going to be a launch point for a potential trend day up, or it's going to be the top of this market and we're going to rotate back down. Guys, full disclosure, listen, I've been wrong a lot in life and in the markets, and I can tell you right now, gut feeling, this has rotation written all over it. I don't think we move much of anywhere. I don't think we go much of anywhere. This didn't give us what we needed to really jam the markets. We're going to see some participation on the open, but I'm not necessarily sure that these markets are going much of anywhere. So it's important, if you're going to play like an orb today or a trend, be careful. I can't imagine these guys going long ahead of the weekend given the news cycle, but it could happen. So caution's the better part of valor. Be careful. Be careful. All right, guys, a couple of things that we do need to cover, though, because this is very important. Here's the report, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. You guys have been wrong a lot over the past few years. So if you're watching from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, got to pick your game up, ladies and gentlemen. Pick your game up. All right, here we go. Total non-farm payroll employment increased by 139,000 in May, and the unemployment rate was unchanged at 4.2%. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today employment continued to trend up in healthcare, leisure and hospitality, and social assistance. Federal government continued to lose jobs. Well, they're cutting jobs at the federal level. That's no doubt there. Honestly, we could delve into all that stuff. I really don't care. Establishment, I just don't care. Let's go. This last thing, this is what we need to know. The change in total non-farm payroll employment was revised down by 65,000. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. We called that. 2024 is the year of the downward revision, right? 2025 is looking to be the same. The change in total non-farm employment for March was revised down by 65,000 to 185 to 120. And the change for April was revised down by 30,000 from 177 to 147,000. With these revisions, employment in March and April combined is 95,000 lower than previously reported. It means that the jobs market isn't near as good as we think it is, and it's not very good. It's fading like a flower. It's not good, guys, what we're going to do here. I was called out on a live stream not too long ago. I believe the exact quote was, "You just said we're going into a recession, so I unsubscribed and I'm done with you forever." GDP for quarter one of 2025 was negative. A recession is 2 consecutive negative quarters. These downward revisions and these job numbers, it's not good enough. We're going to have a recession here. That's the way it just is. It may be a brief one. It may be a brief one, but there's going to be an according to Hoyle recession. You can write that down. I called it here first. In any case, right there. So the minor corrections to some household surveys from April. You can see they're always correcting things. This is far from a true science, but downward revisions are the key here. And a number that looks relatively strong on paper may not be as strong as we think it is. Let's take a look at the headlines here real quick, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. I always like to see the headlines from CNBC just because it's free, but what are they covering? U.S. payrolls increased 139 more than expected. Treasury yields tick higher after latest U.S. jobs release. Futures jump. That's a lie. They haven't really jumped that much. Let's see. Trump's not interested in call. Musk and Trump are going to dominate today's news cycle. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Okay, let me see. What else do we got? I think that's about a wrap. Euro USD sort of basing out right around 114. It's going to be tough to hit 114.50 today. We should have already gotten it if we were going to get it. As far as gold goes, I do want to highlight gold right here. I do love that level down there, 33.45-ish. That's going to be a level that I'm going to personally trade today. I just got to wait and see if we get it. Well, I mean, there it is, guys. That could be the bottom for you. There's your gold. I mean, 30-minute chart. Let's go down to a 1 minute. There it is. That's the trade. Boom, boom, boom. That's why we look at macro levels. That's a daily support zone. And that's essentially, I get asked a lot, Shane, how do you trade? That's how I trade. Spike low, spike high, support zone. Sort of a demand zone right there. You can see these tails. There's been bidders there, bidders there, bidders there. What do you got right there? You come off, you come down, and you hit that absolutely beautifully on the nose. And unfortunately, we were on live stream, and we didn't get paid on that. But there it is. There's the trade. That's the trade. To me, that's trading. A lot of this 920, these crossovers and things, they're useful. But is it any better than that? No, not even close. Not even close. So that's a great trade right there. I feel bad I missed it. It's all right, though. I'd rather be with you guys talking. All right, everybody. Let me see. Yeah, T. Marina. Melinda was her name. What was her name? I wonder if she's coming back to you afterwards. No, T. They never come back. I had a guy actually the other day was on one of our YouTube videos and called me. Let me see. What did he call me? He called me an idiot and a hustler, and I can't remember what else he called me. It was brilliant, though. Oh, no, bad communicator. He says you can't communicate very well. And I said, okay, that's fine. I understand. But they never come back. Hey, listen, if you're don't like me or you criticize or whatever, come on over to How to Trade. Send me a private message. We'll talk about your trading approach and in all the ways that you're superior. I love to talk to traders. And I also love arrogance. I like traders that are confident and believe in what they're doing. You're going to need to get to that level. But, it's always, I'm nice. It's time to be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. And then we spin the lid around and things get ugly in a hurry. That's for sure. But don't ever trade angry. Don't let anybody put you on tilt. Stick to your game. Stick to your game. All right, guys. The last thing I'm going to say is this. As far as the psychology lesson goes, that's something like NFP. This is a great example. Let's say, for instance, you hit this trade and you walked away with your daily P&L profit for today, and it could have easily happened right there. Okay, let's say you're up big right now after NFP. Understand the game's going to change here in about 32 minutes when we have the opening bell on Wall Street. It's going to affect everything. Stocks, of course, are the big one. You're going to see the U.S. indices do whatever they're going to do, but you're also going to see action in commodities on that cash open. You're going to see action in the U.S. dollar on that cash open. So be careful. If you just made a bunch of money trading the volatility here on NFP, I highly recommend just going home for the weekend. Go out to dinner. Go to lunch tomorrow. Do something cool. I mean, that's what you got to do. Absolutely, Wizard. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Jen and I are going to take the Zads. Absolutely. You guys have a fantastic evening, Wizard. I'm optimistic things are fantastic down there in New Zealand. So you have a fantastic weekend and an evening. We'll be back next week. But remember, if you made a stack, take some of it home. Lewis. Thank you, Lewis. I sure appreciate it. I've been on here for a long time. The years sort of fly by. I can see myself getting older. Look over at the picture and I go, man, you're getting older, dude. All right. Yeah, I remember that. Stop your madness and misleading. No, I think we're running a pretty honest shop here. So that's the way it is. Can't please everybody all the time. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Next week's schedule is going to be a little bit different streaming-wise. Check in the How to Trade Trading Room. Absolutely, Lita, you're welcome. Check into the How to Trade Trading Room. I'm going to have it listed out. I believe that we may be going live on Monday. I'm going to be out Wednesday. I'm going to be out of the office Wednesday, but back Thursday, Friday. So we'll be sure to get you at least 4 live streams next week, and then probably a Switch Markets. We'll do one on our Switch Markets series as well. So a lot going on there. We just got to get into it. This market feels good to me, but we are setting into summertime. You know, it's the Lana Del Rey song, "It's Summertime Sadness." Things slow down and people get chopped up. Be careful with your trading. If you just made a lot of money, take it home with you. Don't even mess with it. Come back Monday ready to go. All right, guys, I'm out. You have a fantastic weekend. You have a great trading session. Trade the action, go. We'll talk soon. See ya.